Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB Zach Brown, and joining with me, as always, is former 410 Sprint Car crew chief and mechanic, my dad, Jeff Brown. A lot of racing has finished up for the weekend, and let's just say I suck at picking drivers to win in every damn series. I have jinxed the hell out of the entire weekend. I apologize for the drivers I picked, Larson and Will Power.
Willpower.
Yeah, finished last, pretty much last in both of them. Will Power's dead last in IndyCar, and almost last was Larson. So, COTA in the NASCAR Xfinity and Cup Series put on really good shows. I like the smaller configuration. Connor Zilic gets a big time win in the Xfinity Series, and what a battle at the end. Well, in that race, and in the Cup race between Christopher Bell and Kyle Busch. Clean racing for all around, like with those drivers, not the beginning. We'll talk about the beginning here in a second, but what a finish between both of those series. And I think them shortening up COTA made it a way better race.
Yeah, it's also better for the fans that are there, because in a road course, you're only going to see a bit of it as it is. So, they're cutting a whole minute off of lap time. So the cars are going to be coming around, sooner, quicker, and more often with more laps on the race. It was a great race. That's I would go there to see a race. I think that looks like it. It's a beautiful track. It's nice and wide. The cars, there's plenty of racing room, and it's challenging and everything. It looked. I think it was a good race. I'm impressed how well the whole weekend went. It was I hardly ever watched the whole thing on both series, and I did this time. It was really good racing.
Well, especially road courses. Usually, you just don't really watch it, but there was a lot of tight racing. The starts and restarts were incredible at this, when it just goes a really wide track and tunnels down to where you can't fit any cars. And the very beginning of the Cup race, Ross Chastain made a Chastain move.
Yeah,
I don't know why
he was thinking there.
I don't know why. I mean, it's not like it was the last lap. I don't know why he dive bombed it to start off, which I would say ruined Chase Elliott's day. But Chase fought back and got a top 5 finish, and he probably was going to be one that would have been in contention to win if he was able to get track position. And it looked for a while that Hendrick was going to have just the worst possible day. 3 of them ended up getting in the top 10. Just one of them that I jinxed. He was making his way up through the field, and they're like, "Hey, wait, Zach picked me. Let me just spin out again."
Yeah, Larson couldn't do anything right.
No, when it rains, it pours with that. And he lost the tire, so there'll be a lot of suspensions coming up for the next several weeks. Just a poopy time for.
Not only did he lose a tire, that was the right front he lost. Then the left rear, they couldn't get on there for the same pit stop. So I mean, they just they have a lot of trouble with that. They have issues with getting their tires on, and that's one problem they have, because I think this car was decent.
I think all the I did call it. The Chevys were fast, but then a Toyota once again came out of nowhere, and you got the right manufacturer right. I didn't even get close.
Yeah.
At least your driver finished in the top 10, but
I did not expect last in fantasy, so you did better on that.
Well, I did not expect Christopher Bell to come out with a win at
You don't think of him as a good road course racer, but apparently
he's just a good racer overall.
Yeah.
He really is. And he raced it as clean as you could race. And because last year he and Kyle Busch got together, and Kyle was not happy about it. But this year, good, clean racing. Even Kyle was like, "That was good." He's like, "I was just a dumbass and messed up a couple times, and he got the better of me." He's like, "It just happened." Kyle would have won if that last caution didn't come out. He had that in the bags, but that Christopher had a couple lap better tires than Kyle, and that could have been the difference.
And I think a slightly better car.
Yeah. That caution, but the caution killed Kyle at the very end, but it was good, hard racing. I enjoyed watching COTA. Like you said, the tailgate scene looks amazing, because I saw some of the just amazing, like, brisket and shit they have at Texas.
Well, they're going to go big down there. So
they don't.
And I don't know if you noticed there, but I was looking. I was like, is that a roller coaster? They are building COTA Land. It's going to have 30 rides right there at the racetrack. I don't know when that's supposed to be opening, but
Texas doesn't mess around when they come to that. But it's a really, really nice facility, top notch, and I'm glad that tires wore out, and that made differences and actually changed out the strategies. And the Xfinity race between the two. I think they were the two youngest drivers in Xfinity battling for
Carson
the
Duvall
lead.
and Connor Zillage.
Yeah, I think they said Connor's 18.
That's what they were saying. I thought he was a little older than that by
I
now.
thought he was older than Carson. I didn't know because Carson's like 19 or 20.
Yeah.
But and Carson just used it up, and then he ended up getting a flat. It was a shame. He was racing so well. You could tell the disappointment, but you could also see his driving. He was driving a little too excited because he knew he was right there. And that just comes with time and
Yeah.
it's just maturity in the sport. But good run overall for Junior Motorsports again in Xfinity. Yeah,
And
I enjoyed that. You know what? They can keep COTA on
I
the
like
schedule.
COTA. And you know what?
They
Hats off to Connor Zillage. He had a great run in the Cup car.
Oh yeah, and then he spun. Then
Yeah,
Suarez
he went to
spun,
the
and
rear and then came back up, and I mean that he was good. I mean that kid can on a road course at least anyway. That kid can drive.
I think he could drive anywhere. I think he'll be pretty good in the sport. It's gonna take some time to get adjusted up through it. He'll be fine. I think he gets a couple more chances this year. And the IndyCar, we'll just recap it real quick before we preview Phoenix. Your pick one, of course, Alex Palou winning. You're damn good at picking these winners for IndyCar. I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
really go
just
out
can't
on a
pick
limb
him for
to.
Cup.
Yeah, well, you
But
really go
that
out
was,
on.
that was a good race. It got exciting there at the end with Newgarden actually catching Alex Palou, and then once he got close enough and was in the dirty air, then
Dirty air.
he used
There's
his
some
stuff up.
and there's some lap cars that Palou was able to time perfectly and get around them quicker. And then all of a sudden, Scott Dixon ended up second, just
Yeah,
randomly. Just
the Indy cars on a street course, I don't mind. They just the big cars is just they're just too
no,
big.
they're designed for that. They're able to
Yeah,
make those tight corners and the narrow tracks. So that's what
but
they're made
it's
for.
neat down there going going through St. Pete. Like I said, it's sort of
I'd like to see IndyCar at COTA.
that's what we were discussing. I was like, that'd be a great track for them. I don't. That's
Yeah.
surprising.
Well, Formula One races there. That was what it's designed for.
Yeah, unless there's some kind of rule if you got Formula One, you can't have Indy. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I think Formula One was racing at like the Indy road course at some point.
Well, yeah, they definitely were because Michael Schumacher and Gordon are the only ones that have 5 Indy wins.
Well, the Cup Series is going a little bit more to the west this week. They are, and I think it's actually the Xfinity and Cup and ARCA is also going out there.
Okay.
In Xfinity, Alex Bowman's making his debut for Hendrick in the 17.
All right.
So hometown
He runs
track.
good.
He's
He
going to
runs
race
good
it.
at Phoenix for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's his hometown track. I just thought about it. I didn't even pick him in fantasy. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Spoiler, neither did I.
Probably should have. I don't pick him that often. But Phoenix, we've always said this since they reconfigured it. It actually made it a really, really good track. This is where they will race in November. Can give you kind of an idea who can race well here, but really, whenever it gets to the Final Four, that's who you're going to see at the end.
Yeah.
So, but it gives the crews an idea of what they'll have if they get into the Final Four. So, probably about the same weather too. Phoenix, it'll probably be an exciting one. It usually ends up getting tight towards the end. It doesn't always have somebody just ass kicking somebody anymore. I think it should be a solid race.
Yeah. The one thing Phoenix, it's funny is that the racing service itself is not real wide, but on those restarts, they're going to go 4 or 5 wide through the dog leg down through there and get back up on the track. So restarts are definitely exciting there, and there's a lot of opportunities to pass. And it's usually one of those weird tracks, especially when it starts getting later in the day. Then the sun starts becoming a factor. You can't see going into the corners. It's very difficult on the drivers. And like you said, yeah, they're back for the final thing in November. But I would almost bet most of these guys are going to have a completely different setup from spring race to the fall race. Even similar weather conditions, it's amazing how they change things. Whether if it's a tire or makes them change it, or just matter of circumstance. But
Well,
yeah,
the
Phoenix
hottest
is one I look forward to. That's always a good race.
the hottest driver right now, Christopher Bell. He's the defending winner of this race, and this was This was one race back from 2023 in the Final Four. He immediately went out with a brake issue, won his redemption, came back in 2024, won the spring race. You might see something similar with some of these drivers that came up just short in the championship, and will bring something just to prove that, hey, I can win this dang race and I can win this championship towards the end.
Yeah, for sure. It's, if the ones, that thought they missed it a little bit, the fall race, or ones that weren't in the championship for, maybe you don't try as hard, try not to mess up with the guys running for the championship. So I think this race is probably a better race than the championship four.
Probably, usually
Because everybody's after it, and they're not gonna championship
kind
four.
of,
You might not race those guys quite as hard as you would now.
yeah, that's very likely. We'll let's give our fantasy lineups for Phoenix then. And we both ended up sucking. I really sucked last week.
Oh, at one point I was leading by a lot, and then I ended up losing by a lot.
Larson getting all those penalties ended up screwing me over, and just it was all it was
Well,
not
I had
meant to
Larson,
be.
so I took him out and put Ty Gibbs in, who was running a solid top 15. And I don't know what happened. He actually ended up worse than Larson. So
Yeah, I changed out Chase because I was like, oh well, he's out of the race now. Should have just left it in.
Yeah, that's how it
Did
goes.
That was impressive how they made their way up the field. But anything can happen in NASCAR fantasy. So my starting lineup for NASCAR Cup Series at Phoenix. Going again. We'll see if I can not jinx it this time. And in the lineup, I've got Kyle Larson. He is very good at Phoenix, one of the better tracks for him. Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Ty Gibbs, who is probably a sleeper, one of the sleepers this week, and William Byron is in my garage. I haven't even used Byron this year yet, so all of them except Larson I have not used. And the featured matchups this week: Joey Logano versus Ryan Blaney. I am picking Blaney. Ross Chastain versus Chase Elliott. I have Chase Elliott. Christopher Bell versus Kyle Larson. I am picking Bell over Larson. That's the hottest driver. Momentum goes a long way right now. Kyle Busch versus Denny Hamlin. This is tough because Kyle's got some momentum now, but I am going with Denny Hamlin. He is pretty solid here.
Cool. Well, our feature matchups are identical.
Oh.
So in my starting lineup, I have Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Chris Buescher, Christopher Bell, William Byron, and in my garage I have Ross Chastain. So the only one I have used before is Christopher Bell. So there's 4 new ones on there. And just to recap, so I have Blaney over Logano, Elliott over Chastain, Bell over Larson, and Hamlin over Kyle Busch.
Well, this will be interesting. The hot picks this week. It says must pick. You must pick Ryan Blaney, which is cool because I don't have him in. Christopher Bell is a solid pick. Of course, I mean, first of all, you got the momentum, and he is pretty decent at Phoenix. It says cold. Now they're not doing a void anymore. They're changing their language and stuff.
Oh,
I don't like
okay.
this. But cold is Kyle Busch. But yeah, he hasn't run well at Phoenix. But now I think Kyle Busch is
That
starting
car's
to get
pretty
going.
fast this year. That
It's
car's
start,
been good.
and Austin Cindric, it says it's cold. I would stay away from Austin Cindric. Wait till you get to a super speedway for him. And a sleeper is Chase Briscoe. I did think about putting Chase Briscoe in my lineup, but I didn't because I didn't. That's the only reason. All right. To win the race at Phoenix, my pick for this week. He's got to get a win sooner or later, and I'm doing sooner. Denny Hamlin is my pick to win at Phoenix this weekend.
At least we're different on there. So my pick is Ryan Blaney. Mom's pick is the winner from the fall race, Joey Logano.
Yep. The champion.
The champion.
Defending champion to get the win. And Ryan Blaney was the runner-up in that. So
yeah.
Now
I do think the Penske cars will be pretty good there.
Now it's time to go to another series that is premiering this week, NHRA at Gainesville. I saw a bunch of they're doing some testing there this week on NHRA's YouTube channel. They're doing it live free stream, just showing some simple runs that the teams are making. just getting prepped up for this week. All 4 series are debuting down there for the 2025 season. It is hard to tell what is going to happen because everything is new.
Yep, fresh
Now you
season.
can go off of momentum from last year, who ended really strong, and you could probably still bet the same person for motorcycle until we're proven wrong. I think there's some different rule changes for motorcycle once again to try to level the playing field some more.
Yeah, I
There
think there's some
usually
weight
is.
changes, or there's also, is it a tire they changed? They're going to a Mickey Thompson rear tire. There's something about a tire, and I think there's something with the fuel is different this year.
Yeah, the fuel is the biggest thing for motorcycles, so we'll see how that makes a difference. Not exactly sure the details on that, but I don't know if you made picks for the series. Do you have picks for them?
I didn't write them down. I'll just go off the top of my head on this one. That's as good as I can do.
Well, I'll go ahead with picks for Gainesville.
I'm going to say we're going to pretty much get our pro stock
Now,
motorcycle.
the one thing about this Gainesville, it's not as humid as it usually is in
Air's
Florida
going
right
to be
now.
good here.
Yeah, it'll be. You'll see some quick times, I think, and I don't. The weather looks really good in Florida in general. It doesn't look like a whole lot of rains, so maybe storms in the area on Sunday, but I think it should be pretty green track, and it should be some fast times.
Yeah, like I said, they're calling for some rain, but for Florida, air's going to be pretty decent. You're basically at sea level here, so those things are going to make a lot of power, especially the naturally aspirated, the pro stock and the pro stock motorcycles. The fuel cars with the blowers, they can compensate for atmosphere at some point just with the blower speeds and things like that. But it's generally a pretty good track. NHRA does a real nice track anymore on getting both lanes pretty equal, especially when the sun's not just beating down on us. I think we're going to have some good fast runs. Like I said, it's almost a guess right now. We don't know exactly who's doing what. I do know Tony Schumacher is not racing this race, and his plans are a little bit up in the air because they have the Top Fuel call out where they call out the other drivers to race and qualify, and they actually put Tony Stewart in over Tony Schumacher.
Okay.
So I did see that part of it.
Well, let's give our
Go
race
ahead
winning.
with your picks.
Yeah, let's go race winning picks for all 4 series in NHRA for the 2025 season debut. So in Pro Stock Motorcycle, I'm actually going to change it up. I could go with Gage Herrera because that's a safe bet. But the one driver, rider, whatever you want to consider the motorcycle guys, the one that ended really strong last year, that was the only one that had a chance to beat Gage in the championship, I'm going with Matt Smith for the motorcycle.
Okay.
And in Pro Stock, it's hard to go against the guy that just won the championship. And again, this is a whole new year, but you got to go with who ended strong last year and who wants to make a good impression for this year. Got to go with Greg Anderson. And in Funny Car, I'm having kind of a theme right now that's going on. I can't pick against this guy in Funny Car until I see race in and race out that he can get beat. Austin Prock's my Funny Car pick. And Top Fuel. I take a guess who I'm picking. Top Fuel. These are all, besides Matt Smith, all of them are defending champions. I'm going Antron Brown and Top Fuel.
Okay. Well, yeah, as you're going with that, I'm just going to change mine up a little bit because, what the hell. So Pro Stock Motorcycle, I'm going to go out on a limb. We're going to go Hector Arana Jr. for Pro Stock.
Okay.
Motorcycle.
Wow. It's been a while since seen him in again, Wally.
He's fully capable of nailing one of them. So see what happens. Pro Stock car, maybe not so much on a limb. I'm going to go with Aaron Stanfield.
He finished strong too.
Yep. Funny Car, maybe a tiny bit of a dark horse. Let's go Ron Capps on the Funny Car. And Top Fuel, let's break that up a little bit. We're going to go Doug Coletta.
All right. You'll probably be right because it seems like every other series besides NASCAR you've been just nailing. So
yeah, maybe we should play this fantasy.
We can go over Volusia real quick just to recap that. It wasn't nearly as exciting as the opening nights that it had at Volusia.
Yeah, David Gravel pretty much put on an ass kicking.
which not
He was
surprising.
he was by far the fastest car. You know,
And we
people
were
they were
and we were
talking
talking
shit.
about
Oh, he
this.
started on the front row. He was still the fastest car. It don't
Yeah,
matter.
we were talking about this too. Jacob Allen. First of all, Jacob Allen the first night. If anybody wants to watch the highlight, his seatbelt came undone.
Yeah,
That's probably a little freaky, and I know that's happened with some of your drivers before. I remember
I've
that.
seen that. I've seen him have the steering wheel pop off.
Yeah, that's an oh shit moment.
Yeah.
And so Jacob Allen got to restart again, but just you could not fire off well at Volusia on the bottom, which I've kind of said this, and I think it would be a good thing for the World of Outlaws to have, at least for the front row. If you're the pole setter, you can choose the outside or inside
Yeah.
lane to.
I was thinking you could do that.
Because I know, like high
But
limit,
I thought they could
they
actually
have
pick. They don't
they have to
actually have a
choose.
choose cone, but I thought they could pick their row. Like they can't. You know, you can't
Well,
pick an outside and have the inside row go up. I think they could pick in. Maybe I'm off on that one. But the
yeah, I
one
mean,
thing that, like you're talking about,
there's no
Volusia,
reason that Jacob Allen should have chose the bottom if that is the case then, because
yeah,
and you said your buddy Lee is on the car, so there's
yeah.
no reason he would have told him to start on the outside.
Yeah. Well, the one thing you don't notice and you don't see it on TV is the banking at Volusia. And a lot of the tracks that have banking, sometimes the outside, they actually will turn the car and they actually get a run downhill where off the bottom you're kind of going uphill. So it is a little bit of advantage, especially if I know they did some track rework after the heat races, so maybe it was a little bit on the greasy side. You know, maybe he just didn't get a good start. But you know, Jacob Allen was fast, and I saw that a good friend Lee Stauffer was being crew chief for him for the weekend, which makes sense why he picked up some speed. I haven't talked to Lee in a while, but I don't know if that's a full time deal or if he just came down to Florida to help. But you know, at least Lee stays with Jacob. He's going to win a few races this year.
Yeah, I mean, sharp cars are good as it is.
Yeah, and Lee's very sharp.
And you know that's just going to help Logan. Is Jacob running full time in Outlaws again?
No, he's high limit.
Okay, so I mean they're same shop, so at least some stuff can transfer over to helping out Logan, because Logan was quick in the race too. They were actually battling each other. That was neat to see. So we'll see how it goes in Outlaws High Limit. High Limit's coming up here soon, I believe the end of March.
Next week at Vegas,
that's where Christopher Bell is.
15th. Yeah, Christopher Bell in the 69.
Because they're racing Las Vegas in the Cup Series, so
yeah,
they're all going to be out there. That'd be a fun weekend.
That would be pretty awesome.
Can't really get out there the next week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that does it for this week's episode. So, like I said, every week you guys can, if you're gonna follow anybody's fantasy, don't follow mine lately, or at least my race winning picks, because I've jinxed the hell out of everybody.
Maybe we should get Mom to post her lineup and they can follow hers, because she seems to kick our ass all the time.
Well, at the very least, if people are betting on race winners, it's usually not mine.
Yeah.
If there was one is like, is he going to win the race? And just click the no button. Maybe be the smart pick. But make sure you like, subscribe, share, follow on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts and all social media platforms. And I just want to show off, this shirt just came in today. So, yeah, I think that's just a really cool shirt. So, there we go. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
All right, bye.